Before I did this, I checked everything through an emergency doctor at Metro. I have the Parma Fire Department EMTs who are going to be monitoring everything about this. And we're trying to show you in just a short amount of time what could happen to me, but more importantly, what happens to me and what happens to a child is very different. I'm wearing a heart rate monitor. I have a blood pressure cuff on, and I also have four leads on, and they're watching my heart rate outside. So I can already tell I'm beginning to sweat. Does humidity play a factor in this?
It's a huge factor, especially like in our profession. Even when it's not as hot, the humidity can make you sweat even more, which means you're losing a lot of your body fluids, and it actually can raise your heart rate even faster. You're already up to the 140 mark.
Wow.
You've been in there a couple of minutes. So just think about an infant who can't control their thermoregulation. They're going to increase even faster.
This feels like a hot run. I can tell my heart rate's going up too, and it's difficult. It's very difficult to breathe. Yeah, I'm sweating profusely at this point. It's
people should realize that if you see an infant in the car and nobody's around, don't hesitate to break that window out, because the alternative is they could die.
But is this the corners, the weakest part of the window?
Usually in the corners is where you want to hit.
Okay, so don't go for the middle, because that's...
Don't go for the middle, because you could hit it with a hammer and it'll just keep bouncing back. You're starting to really sweat bad now.
Yeah.
We can tell.
Yeah, I didn't remember the waterproof mascara, so sorry. I'm gonna look like a raccoon when this is over. But yeah, I'm a head sweater, so I can tell my hair is really getting wet. It's sticking to my neck, it's sticking to my scalp, my everywhere. My feet are swelling, my hands are swelling. Everything, it's just uncomfortable. And now I've got this blood pressure cuff that's squeezing on my arm, and that's really uncomfortable too.
So your heart rate's about 155 now. Your blood pressure is 140 over 88. If you remember, we started at 154. So your pressure's already coming down a little bit.
Wow.
So that's what you got to worry about.
So that's
output.
The GoPro that's getting video of me inside the car. It's so hot that it actually burned my fingers when it shut down because of the heat. I can't, my phone is dead.
So Monica, one thing I'm noticing, if you look at your hands, see how your vessels are really pronounced now?
Yeah.
And what your body does is that your body tells your vessels to vasodilate so that you can get that heat out of your body quicker.
So both hands.
And here's one thing that people forget about. When you drink alcohol, it actually causes vasodilation. So you're actually making it even worse.
There's pressure on my head.
So one of the signs of heat exhaustion is a headache.
Yeah.
You actually start feeling a little bit of a headache.
My head's like starting to pound.
Yeah. And then you start to get a little lightheaded, a little dizzy.
Yeah. So I've been in here now almost 31 minutes, and the temperature's about 116. I am soaked. My veins are popping in my hands. My fingers are swollen so much it hurts to bend my fingers. I've got a pounding in my head right now. It's really hard to breathe. I can feel my heart rate pounding. I'm sweating so much that I can't even keep the leads on. They just slide right off. They're soaked. My arms are like drenched, literally. 120 degrees here.
Okay. Look what your temp is.
Wow. My temp's at 100.5, so my body temperature's gone up.
Yeah, so you start at 98.8. You've already jumped 2 degrees just by sitting in a car for 40 minutes. And if you think about a kid, if we had an infant in here, that baby's temperature could be at 104, 105 right now, where they're actually starting to lose consciousness.
Wow.
So it's very, very dangerous.
So for people who say, I'm just going to run in to the store for a couple of minutes, you know, and
Right.
I mean, I was miserable after 5. I can't imagine. Now I've been in here almost 43 minutes, and I want out. And yeah, everything's telling me, like, I'm irritated.
Dante, can you get the thermal imager?
It's 180 degrees off that dashboard, according to the thermal imager. How hot am I?
Oh, now you're at 105. And down in this area again, you're up to about 117. It's getting a little worried.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. 101.1. All right,
I think we're
time,
to a point where we need to get
we need to call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just going to take you into the cool atmosphere.
I can tell you, I can wring out my hair. Oh, my phone's still dead.
We'll get you some water there.
Oh, my neck, yeah. I'm dizzy. My head is pounding. Taking a look at me now, would you say I'm in heat exhaustion?
I would say you were pretty close to heat exhaustion. I mean, all the symptoms you were saying, dizziness, a little lightheaded, fast pulse rate, you're irritable, those are all signs of heat exhaustion.
And had I stayed in there, oh, thank you. Had I stayed in there a little longer, I'd probably go into heat stroke.
Right.
Like, the biggest warning sign is when I stop sweating.
Right. One of the big warning signs. And you were pretty close. I mean, what we said is 104. You were at 101 for your temperature. I think another 20 minutes, you might get close to that 104 mark. So.
And that's where your brain starts to fry.
That's where your brain starts to fry. Okay, we're going to have you stand up real quick. And I'm going to take your blood pressure real fast.
Go ahead, Fish. Bring your dispatch for med 2.
I feel my heart rate going up.
Go dispatch.
Your blood pressure dropped 20 points, and that's very significant. If you were in the emergency room with a blood pressure drop of 20 points and your pulse elevated, they'd keep you in the hospital and give you some fluid via IV lines. I don't think we're at that point right now. We'll just keep hydrating you, but that's how serious it was for you. You're pretty close to heat exhaustion right now.
Nobody ever intends to leave a child or a pet in the back seat. There are some things you can do. You have your phone, you have your purse or wallet, put those in the back seat with the child, as well as your shoes. That way, you're required to check the back seat before you go anywhere.